I suppose it's really interesting in part one understanding what's provided, who can access it. But I suppose it'd be nice to delve into what it actually looks like practically. So, who provides the support to people that are calling up or getting in touch with you?
So actually, we've got a really great team of support officers who are highly trained and experienced, and we know that picking up the phone to make that first phone call is so difficult for some people. But I think what's really important to know is, alongside that, our support officers have a wealth of expertise. They're very friendly and approachable as well. And with every first call that our support officers take, they will then be that RICS professional's named support officer. So they'll always speak to the same person. They won't have to start again and share their story. So we understand that that's really important. The named support officer will then be, like I said, the main point of contact for the whole duration of the support that they receive from us. They may be referred to like another service. So, for example, if you receive counselling support, you'll be speaking to one of our counsellors, but then you will then be passed back to your designated support officer when that particular service ends. And if you are referred to any one of our like external partners, so for example, our back to work consultants, you'll have the support from them, but then you will then be passed back to the named support officer when that work is completed. And we just want to make sure that the maximum support and the right support is provided when anyone calls through.
Are there, I suppose that for some people, if you're on a point in life where something's distressing, it could be it could be financial, legal, whatever. At that moment, I suppose it's the most daunting thing that's going on for you, and you're worried potentially about being judged or whatever else it might be. I'm guessing you guys have seen everything, so actually the chances are it's nothing new for you, and so on. So, are there any topics that are off limits, or can you just get in touch about anything? And should you be worried about the type of topic you're bringing up?
No, there's no topic that's off limits at all. We have had quite a lot of experience. I know the support team have taken many, many calls, so they are familiar, as I say, with what affects surveyors day to day. And we always encourage people to get in touch, to either through the website, on the helpline, because even if the team can't help or it's something which we're not able to help with immediately, we're really good at signposting. We'll talk through a situation. And I think it's just really important to impress on people that please pick up the phone. We will listen. We will be able to help in some way. So I think taking that first step is the most important one.
Definitely. It's daunting. And actually, I think quite often once you've had the call, you go, actually, that was quite easy. In terms of now it's being dealt with and the main hurdle's over. Now it's just start going through the support and the process.
Yeah, I think, and that's certainly, if you look at our website, look at some of the beneficiaries that have shared their experiences on there through the blogs and their stories. This comes up time and time again where people say, we are so glad that we made that first step. It was hard, but we did it, but it was actually the best thing that we did. And without LionHeart, we don't know where we'd be at this point in time.
Yeah. One thing that we haven't sort of discussed this off the call, so you may not know the answer, but is there a more typical thing that people call up about? Is there a common type of issue that crops up, or is it very varied?
It can be very varied, and Parita, you'll probably be able to add to this. I think from my perspective with corporates, I think a lot of it is to do around stress management. And people getting overwhelmed at work. And we've just done a series of podcasts ourselves, haven't we, Parita? And our top subject at the moment is overwhelm and burnout. And I think post-pandemic, where things started to get back to normal, people were going back out. I think the pressure's really on. I mean, I think it was on during the pandemic as well, but I think it's increased even more since we started going back to doing face-to-face interaction and the surveyors are out on the road again.
Yeah, I think stress in the workplace is one of the number of things that always comes out. Even when we've done surveys in the past, it's something that is really impacted. It's always been a really big thing for them to deal with. I think because it's such a fast-paced industry, there's like things that need to be done, projects that need to be completed, it can be kind of very difficult. But yeah, I think, like Melissa said, in terms of the calls that we get, they are very varied. Our counselling service actually is one of the most popular services that we provide, alongside our APC practice presentation sessions. So that's really grown in the last year. Its numbers have literally just over doubled from last year compared to this year, which is where an APC candidate gets the opportunity to practice through their presentation with a support officer. And we just kind of help them about their presentation style, tricks and tips on how to kind of manage that. So we don't focus on the technical skills of their presentation. It's more about the delivery of their style and how we can support them. But yeah, that's another kind of really popular service at the moment.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually, and I'm not surprised that stress at the moment is a big one, because there's so many factors going on, and I think on top of that, it's very easy. Everyone talks about this, but you go on social media and you've got the glossy, I call it the glossy Christmas card. You get the letter that tells you all the good things that have happened this year, but none of the bad. And so you can feel quite like what you're doing is very different to everybody else, and it might be, but often it won't be. But yeah, with all the financial pressures and the housing market's constantly all over the place, or the property market's all over the place. So I can imagine. One thing that you can see in the industry sometimes, and I don't know whether this translates into potentially how you see people feeling, but obviously for a lot of surveyors, some will work in teams and offices, and therefore they're sort of quite connected anyway, and they might have their support group around them. But I suppose a lot of businesses are SMEs, sole practitioners, and they might be out on the road on their own, or just working from home or from an office on their own a lot of the time. Does that sort of lead to a lot of pressure? And is that a common theme where people are calling up because they don't know how they're doing relative to others, or they feel isolated? Is that a factor?
Yeah, that is a common factor. And I think when they don't have that support network around them, if they are from the smaller firms, perhaps they don't necessarily have an employee assistance program, and they're with a big firm, yes, it can weigh quite heavily on an individual. And I think at LionHeart, we want to let people know that they're not alone, that they can contact the helpline, whatever they think, even if they just think something's not quite right in their life, they've lost the balance, whether it's your work or family life. I think it's quite important to stress that we're not just here with stresses and strains around work. It's here to do with family life as well, and finances. Please, do get in touch. And I think I said earlier about the website, we do have a lot of individuals on there who've shared their stories and their experiences, and they're there mainly for us to just demonstrate that they are not alone, that there are individuals who are just like them that are going through particular challenges in their life as well, and that it's really important to talk about it and contact LionHeart.
Awesome. I think it's a nice thing to do, actually, to share that story, and it's a big step, because you don't necessarily want people to know that you've had a difficult patch. So to put that out there is, I think, quite a brave thing, but important, because it's relatable. People feel they can then get in touch. But that's been really interesting. Thank you for that. I think we'll tune in for part 3. We'll look at what does support actually look like.